Good morning. This is Dr. John Whitcomb talking about how melatonin protects you from cancer. The story goes back a ways. 1931, Otto Warburg in Germany got the Nobel Prize in Medicine for documenting that cancer cells can live without oxygen. Every cell has the ability to cut a glucose molecule in half, making 2 pyruvate molecules and making 2 ATP. That doesn't require mitochondria. Mitochondria take that ATP and convert it into pyruvate and then put it into the mitochondria, from which they then extract 36 more ATP. So the ability to use mitochondria is a cardinal sign of a healthy cell. Well, it turns out that's what melatonin does. It plays with the little enzyme in there that does that, called the PDC complex. And the PDC complex basically downregulates. That's the penultimate step before it gets into before pyruvate gets into the mitochondria. And melatonin downregulates that. So it allows cells to it downregulates its downregulation, so that it allows the pentose phosphate shunt, which is what cancer cells like, which is bypassing mitochondria and making lots of nucleotides for making more DNA for rapidly growing cells. Cancer cells like that. But then cancer cells don't burn glucose very effectively, and they don't get as much energy through the mitochondria. Well, if you can alter that PDC complex and shift energy back into the mitochondria, then you've turned the cell away from its fundamental cancer metabolism. That's really very interesting, because that means you are down-regulating the cancer ability. Well, the question is, can you prove that? Well, we can prove the enzyme effect, and we can show that in many models of people who have disrupted sleep patterns, that they have higher rates of cancer. For example, night nurses have been well studied for breast cancer. They have a higher incidence, and so on and so forth. Well, melatonin helps regulate that. As we get older, we have less and less melatonin, and we have more and more cancer. The link between the two isn't proven, but it's a curious supportive association. What will work for me? Well, we lose about 10% of melatonin per decade, which means if you're over 50, you've lost at least 50% of your melatonin. You should probably be taking some at bedtime. There is now increasing evidence that 3 milligrams is just a whisper. 30, 40 milligrams is been widely used, and there are many authors who've now published articles saying that up to 200 milligrams is helpful in cancer. What will work for me? On reading these articles and going through this material, I've increased my daily melatonin dose to 20 milligrams every night. I'm planning on getting up to 40, but I'm just going slowly and surely, letting my body get used to it. But if you want to Google melatonin and cancer, you can find dozens of articles, including many that support as much as 200 milligrams a day. This is Dr. John Whitcomb for News and Nutrition. Melatonin might be your secret cancer drug.